Yeah, so our goal and vision here at EMP is to responsibly develop a project that can deliver lithium chemicals into an industry that's advancing the way that we both store and consume clean energy. I think lithium brine operations in general have many benefits, in comparison to traditional ways that lithium is mined or extracted. And so advancements in implementation of a DLE process and in a lithium brine process will allow mining operations to lower greenhouse gases, lower water usage, lower chemicals, and also the time that it takes to bring lithium chemicals into the market. Yeah, so our flow testing program that was just completed, I would like to note this is the first extended flow testing program for lithium in Southeast Saskatchewan. And so extended as in we flow tested this well for over 60 days. And so the concentration that was achieved with this flow test has really confirmed our subsurface strategy in that we can target individual high-grade zones of the reservoir and produce them at high flow rates. We do have plans for some infrastructure upgrades that will allow us to increase these flow rates even further, as we are targeting upwards of 2,000 cubic meters per day per well for commercial scale operations. Concentration in general of lithium has a large impact on the overall project economics, as we can produce higher tonnage rates by moving the same volume of fluid. So we can drive both of our CapEx and OpEx numbers down with the higher grade lithium zones that are available here in the basin in Saskatchewan. So the Mansur 3 test well, it does a few things for us. The first thing is it confirms a contiguous high-grade resource that extends from our Viewfield property, where we've tested upwards of 259 milligrams per liter. And then as we move west into the southern Mansur land base, another test over 200 milligrams per liter. So again, it just brings more confidence to the resource that we have in place across our land base. Number two, the high concentration discovered at Mansur, again, just helps drive overall project economics and opens up that southern Mansur block as another potential expansion area. And then three, again, it does confirm that expansion and scale potential within our Saskatchewan land base is possible. Again, initially our initial targets and focus are around the Viewfield property, and then moving through the expansion into that Mansur property. So we're continuing today to advance the project through additional fieldwork and detailed engineering. Near-term advancements will be to complete our detailed engineering or our FEED study for the stage 1 facility located in the Viewfield property. This will help bring us more confidence towards overall project economics, understand both CapEx and OpEx in more detail. It will also continue to acquire both freehold and crown mineral title. We're actively working through the project areas to continue to add adjacent land and mineral title to the existing acreage that we have, and again, increase overall resource tonnage for the project. And then we also have some additional field testing queued up for both water source testing as well as injection well testing. With that as well, we're also continuing to advance discussions around scope for a demonstration facility that would be located at Viewfield, again with the intent to further de-risk subsurface as well as DLE technology, prior to making any investment decisions in some of the larger scale commercial operations that we have planned in the future. So we're approaching this project from small modular hub and spoke type facilities. And so this is really centered around the cleanliness of the brine found here in Saskatchewan. So it's a good blend of high concentration and low impurities. And some of those impurities and contamination that I'm talking about are mainly H2S and residual oil that's found in typical reservoirs. We do not have that present in Saskatchewan. which allows us to sort of play with the scale of production. And we do feel smaller tonnage facilities. Right now we're targeting around a 3,000 ton per year type facility. Again, lowering the CapEx requirements to get an initial facility built, and really, leaning on the fundamental of the cleanliness of the brine to help drive that. What that also does then is it allows us to learn throughout the build of an initial facility, but also rapidly expand as well as add in innovation as we look to expand, smaller modular type facilities throughout the rest of our land base to meet that growing demand for lithium chemicals. So the nature of a lithium brine project just brings many benefits with it that I believe are quite important for an ESG-focused investor. Estimates indicate lower greenhouse gas emissions when compared to conventional hard rock mining operations. You can also minimize surface disruption by avoiding any form of surface or strip mining. And by utilizing some of the common practices that have been developed in the oil and gas industry, the surface refining facility, the well pads, all of that can coexist within the farming communities, allowing land to still be utilized for growing crops. And again, we're mainly operating and developing this project within extensive farmland here in Southeast Saskatchewan. We also don't have any surface tailings piles. So again, I know mining operations, again, you drive by typical mining sites and see large piles of waste or tailings, as well as brine ponds. And with DLE, we can eliminate the need for any on-site storage of tailings or brine ponds, because DLE itself allows 99% of those impurities to remain in the brine and be immediately re-injected into a disposal zone. So the nature of a lithium brine project just brings me. Yeah, so facilities are typically sized and developed around a maximum flow rate. And so that flow rate will be dictated on the size of your pipelines, the vessels, pumps, all the infrastructure that you have in place. So by maintaining higher concentrations of lithium within the brine, we need less volume or less flow, less volume or less vessels, smaller pipelines to really produce that same desired output tonnage from the facility. So by optimizing design for high concentration and continuing to produce at high concentration, we can effectively lower both the CapEx and the OpEx of the operation by processing lower volumes. So technology and innovation to me is sort of the forefront of DLE today. Even in my time within this industry, there's been significant advancements made over the past few years. And I think that trend will continue, especially as we're seeing some of the larger companies come into the space. Announcements of Rio Tinto, ExxonMobil in the Smackover, Equinor as well in the Smackover. And they're all pursuing DLE-based projects. But with that, I think there's also a lot of small and nimble companies developing resources or are developing technology. I think both that will play a pivotal role in the success and implementation of DLE-based projects. So I think what differentiates EMP from other North American projects is a couple of things. The first one, we have a really high quality asset here in Saskatchewan, and it really is centered around a brine with a good balance of high concentration and low contamination. So no H2S or oil contamination, which requires expensive extraction and larger scale to economically treat and remove. So without having H2S or oil present in the brines in southern Saskatchewan, this brings a major cost advantage on both CapEx and OpEx for the project. So second, we're also developing a project in a province with a stable government that is mining and resource friendly. Many incentives exist for projects in development to obtain non-dilutive funding, and the initial royalty structure is quite competitive, allowing businesses to operate here in the province. We also have very similar scale operations and industries in the province currently. Again, we look at Saskatchewan being a large exporter of potash, uranium, and oil and gas. So we continue to see these sectors be supported and continue to have support for the development of this new resource industry, and Saskatchewan looking to be a major contributor to the overall lithium market. Next, we also have existing infrastructure in place, again, heavily built on a 50-year operating oil and gas history here in the province. So with that brings local talent that we're able to have support the project both from a contractor basis as well as development of a project as well as ongoing operations. Good road infrastructure, maintain good roads, rail loading facilities in close proximity of our project location, and flat unobstructed farmland, again, which a lot of the local landowners are used to the oil and gas operations and how surface leases and access to lands work in that existing oil and gas industry. Last, we have a very small and nimble team with extensive operation experience, capital markets experience, drilling, and oil and gas operations related experience. So we're advancing and de-risking this project in a very methodical and cost-effective way to maximize shareholder value and deliver a project built on what we believe is one of the best lithium brine resources here in Canada. And some major catalysts that we are working towards. Again, we do have some field work lined up that will help further de-risk our project in general. Probably one of the bigger things that we're actively pursuing today is, again, the development of a small-scale demonstration plant. That scale is still yet to be defined, but really I think that will answer a lot of questions just in nature around the subsurface. Can we supply the brine? Can we dispose of the brine and handle that much volume? And also too, the demo plant will really be focused towards DLE as well. If we can answer both the subsurface questions and the DLE questions, I think that just will bring a wave of confidence towards how this process works. And if we can continue to show success, we'll build momentum towards our plans to move into commercial production in the coming years.